Hi everyone, it's Nancy, So Cozy Stitching. I'm back again. um, I think it's been since February since I did a video. I did not plan on being gone this long, and I had full intentions of doing a video, an update video in March, and then COVID. And okay, and then I thought, okay, things started, I thought would start slowing down, and then they didn't. And then, anyway, I am going to do a life update to tell you what has been happening in my life since February. And, but I'll do that at the very end so that if you don't want to listen to it, you don't have to. I, and I thought about not doing any more videos just because it had been so long since I had done a video, and I didn't know if I even had any subscribers, or I don't know. But I've had in the last couple of months, I've had a lot of people like all of a sudden subscribing to me. So anyway, here I am. I'm back. um, this video is going to be a little bit longer just because I'm going to give a life update at the end. But I've really thought about from here on forward, how I'm going to be doing my videos, because I don't want to do long videos. And I just want, so my videos from here on out are going to be, other than this one because of the life update, are going to be very short. I am going to just pop on, show you what I'm stitching, what I finished, if I've worked on any quilting, and kind of just move on from there. So with that being said, um, I am in a new spot, as you can see. I have a new sewing room, and I will do a sewing room tour, not for a couple of months. And the reason why is because I have ordered a brand new stitching chair, because this room is big enough I can have my very own little stitching spot. I do stitch in the living room, which is on the other side of this wall. I do stitch in the living room at night, and I watch TV in there. But because my sewing room is so big now, I can have my very own little stitching chair, and that I can just sit in there, because I like to sit in the quiet once in a while and stitch, especially like in the mornings. Um, so I'll have a spot in here. But because of the whole COVID thing, furniture stores are not getting furniture in. You have to order it because it takes a couple of months. Um, just like everything else has been happening, that has happened. So once I get my stitching chair in here, and I get the mess that's in this corner over here cleaned up, because everything's kind of just piled there until I get my chair in, and then I can finish putting stuff away, because my chair is kind of big, and so I don't want to get things put up and things on the walls and things like that until I get my chair in there, and then I can work around it. Moving from my other sewing room, which was little because it was just a bedroom, but I had, if you remember behind me, I had those shelves with all that fabric. I don't have the storage space in here like I did. So I bought me some cabinets, as you can see, and um, I have little storage containers and boxes, and I love those boxes you get from Joann's that have the flip lids. So I have quite a few of those in here, and I have, in every little nook and cranny in my sewing room, I have storage for something. You know, it's because I had to I had to use my imagination. Anyway, but by moving into here, I have realized I have way, way too much fabric. So, yeah, I kind of need to kind of curb the spending on fabric and quilt kits. And I have enough in here. If we had another shutdown, and I literally could not even order anything for a year, I would never get everything in. I'll use all of my fabric or get my kits done or anything. So anyway, but that's quilting, not stitching, right? So I am, from this point forward, I'm not showing you everything I've worked on. I'm just going to show you today what I am working on. I don't have any finishes. I don't have any fully finishes to show you. I'm only going to show you what I'm working on, and these are my plans for October. Because October I am making all about fall and a little bit of Halloween. I'm not a huge Halloween stitcher just because I like decorating for fall and leaving it up from September until the end of November. So, but when I do decorate for fall, the little bit of Halloween I have is it's put out in September and it comes down in November. So anyway, so what have I been working on? First thing I'm going to show you is Blackbird's Designs Casting a Spell. This was just printed, and so I decided to grab it because you have to have all the blackbirds. And then I was looking at it right after I got it, and I thought, oh, that would be so easy. And my thought process, because oh, these are so tiny and so easy, I can get this done in a weekend. There are very few colors. In fact, I think in all these right here, there are only 4 colors, and I actually only used 3 because there are 2 colors that are so similar to each other that I just did them all the same. So I have, let's see, what do I have done? I have all of these done from here over, all done, and I am working on, I think it's this one. Okay, now I do have the box. I did go to Hobby Lobby and I bought the box. Now, these are stitched on 30 count fabric. I stitch on 14 count fabric. So I figured 30 count would be the same as 15, so 14, they should fit inside this box. Now, they do. I've measured them. They do fit in there. They are very tight. In fact, when I go to mount, these ones are all mounted on mat board, and then these are pillows. And so when I go to put these on mat board, a little bit of my stitching might wrap around, maybe, because I just grabbed some random fabric from my stash that I had, and a lot of these pieces are just tiny pieces, and I am going to, once I get them all stitched, I am going to dunk them in, do a coffee tea dye to age them up, and I'm hoping by putting them in boiling hot water, it shrinks them just enough that they're going to fit in there perfectly. So this is what I have stitched. Let's see, there we go. And like I said, random pieces of fabric, and it's just, I don't even know, I think it might be like natural Ada, I think is what it's called, maybe, I don't know. So I've got those ones done. And then I stitched this one, Halloween, and make sure it's right side up, that one, with my initials. And I'm a little bit tight there because my initial is a little bit bigger, I think. I don't know what I did, but I should have moved this flower over one, but it's done. And then I've got, this is a little bit bigger. I've got those 2 done. And this is the cat on the next one, which is, yeah, it's this one right here. So, and like I said, just on a random piece of 14 count Aida, and then I'm going to, once they're done, I'm going to put them in some tea and coffee and kind of make them old and grungy looking. All right, the next thing I have been working on. I've been working on Blackbird's Designs Autumn Bouquet. I love this. It has the little clips because I have my working copy on the back. This has 4 colors, and I chose my own colors. So I'm using all Victorian Motto sampler threads just from my stash. And I'm not going to take it out of the hoop. And that's where I'm at. So all of the alphabet is done in Smyrna crosses, I think. And yeah. So a story with this one. Actually, these are not all done in Victorian Motto sampler threads, because what happened is I had done this entire, and I know I'm missing the I. I will get to that in a second. But I had done all of the alphabet over to the J in the color I had picked out for the alphabet. And then I got looking at this, and I had done it in the wrong color. So then I picked out, let me grab my threads. Okay, so these are my threads that I have picked out. Okay, so those are my threads. Okay, so I had originally done the alphabet in this color. The alphabet was not supposed to be done in this color. And that is like, it's showing like a orange yellow. It's more of a, I don't know, it's really not true color. It's more of a goldish yellow, orangey, I don't know. Anyway, so I had done them in this color and realized they were supposed to be done in this color. So I pulled them out, started restitching. I didn't pull them all out. I started over here, started pulling them out, and as I was pulling them out, then I would go in and stitch the letter. And I was using this one. Now, in this, if you're going to compare it to DMC colors, it goes all the way from 3021 to 433. And when I first started stitching them, it was more of the darker shade in here. The variegation goes from 3021 down to 433. So the variegation, and it was like it wasn't like gradual getting into the variegation. It was like, it was one color and then it was not. So I didn't like that. So I pulled it out and I started using just the lighter color in here, which is more of the 433. That's what it would compare to on the DMC. So you can really see the variegation. So I started using that, and I was cutting off pieces and just using those pieces. And I thought, you know, if I'm going to do that, I might as well just get 433 and use it. So I pulled out the darker one of the letter that was in the darker color and put in, and now I've stitched them all in the 433. And so, mind you, I had stitched this alphabet 3 times. I have actually stitched this 3 times. I get in here, start working in here, looking at it, and I'm like, I forgot the I. So I have to pull out the J, put an I in, and then the J again. So the J will be stitched 4 times by the time I am done. So yes, I know it's missing the I, and I will go back. When I pick this back up, I will go back in and I will stitch the I. But anyway, and I'm doing this as a stitch along with one of my friends, Frankie. She is a lot farther along than I am. But I'm hoping to get this done. I really want to, this is one I would really like to get finished up before I put fall stitching away. All right, what have I been working on next? Oh, and this something else has happened to me in the last 7 or 8 months. This is 18 count Ada, and I love it. So this is 18 count vintage country mocha that I'm stitching this on. One strand of thread. I love one strand of thread. And I will not give up stitching on 14 count Ada. But for pieces that are going to be, that are big anyway, because I'm stitching on Ada, I'm doing on 18 count. So anyway, you'll see my projects are going to switch back and forth between 14 and 18. All right, the next one I have been working on is, this is called Needle and Thread by With Thy Needle and Thread. And, oh, there. I absolutely love this. I call her the hippie lady, because look at those hips. Too funny. This I am stitching on 14 count Mallow by Picture This Plus. And that's where I'm at. And I've been stitching on this skirt for a long time. Hang on. I'm moving you a little bit closer to me, so I have to reach so far. Yeah, I just love this. Absolutely love it. I love stitching. Picture This Plus is not my favorite fabric to stitch on because I like a stiffer fabric. So I guess that's why Ada doesn't bother me, because the stiffness doesn't bother me. There is some Ada that is way too stiff, but Picture This Plus is really flimsy to me. So I have to stitch it in a Q-snap. That's the only way. I can't put it in a hoop. A hoop doesn't keep it tight enough for me. I love the softness of this. I still have to finish right there, and then her whole skirt will be done. And then I'm going to go down and start on some of this grass, because there is a lot of that grass. So, but I'm really enjoying her. And once she is done, she will be framed and she will go in my new stitching room. So, absolutely love her. All right, then, whoops, floss. Let's see. Sorry. I have some floss and I don't want to lose it, so I got to put it in the right bag. All right. The next thing I have been working on. Now, mind you, all this stuff is just random. It's not like this is the order that I have been stitching these in. But I told you I'm not a whole lot into Halloween stitching, but when she came out with this, I thought that was just so cute. So cute. I am using the DMC. So I've had to do my own conversion, but my colors are very similar to hers with the exception of the boo, this purple and the blue, or in the boo, because if I'd used a color that was closest to this, it would have blended into my fabric. So that's where I'm at. This fabric is, because this to me looks like it's on purple fabric. It's not. It's 18th century Blackbird by R&R is the call for. But I wanted something that looked similar to this. So I got this. And I think this is Color and Cotton, but I don't know the name. That's where I'm at. This is 18 count. So the only thing I did is I did change my purple to make it a darker purple, because like I said, it would have blended into my fabric too much. And I wanted the boo to stand out. So, and I'll sit and, I watch the live stream with Fat Quarter Shop on Fridays. And so this is kind of what I've been stitching when I sit and watch the live stream. And yeah. Or when I get my grandsons up in the morning and get them ready for school, from the time they're ready until their mom picks them up, I'll sit and stitch on this. So anyway, that's what also I've been working on. Okay, so all about fall, right? Well, I have one more thing I need to show you that's about fall. Okay, so I decided to participate in the Great Pumpkin Sal with that Cynthia Brew and Olivia. Cynthia Brew's Stitching in the Light is her Flosstube channel. Olivia with Pumpkin Hollow Quilts, and Christy with Crosshatch Quilts. They are hosting the Great Pumpkin Sal, and it's go to Cynthia's, because it's all wrapped around doing a donation for an organization to help with human trafficking. And I know that everybody has already probably heard about it, so I'm not going to go into it. But if you want to know more about it, go into Cynthia's Flosstube videos. She has a video that she just talks about that. So anyway, I decided to join the Great Pumpkin Sal, and this is what I'm working on. Olga stocking. And what is funny is I have had this sitting in a bag, kitted up for a while. Kitted up with all the floss. I didn't have, I hadn't chose my fabric yet, but kitted up with the floss. And I decided, and then when she announced the Great Pumpkin Sal, I thought, oh, I'm gonna start this, because look at, it's got pumpkins in it. It's got four pumpkins. 1, 2, 3, 4. Dropping stuff. So anyway, I decided this is what I'm starting, Olga stocking. And what's funny is there's a lot of people that are starting this. So I started this on October 1st. So just Thursday I started it. And I am stitching it on a piece of fabric from Seraphim Fabrics, and it's 18 count caramel. Let me put this behind it. And I'm not going to take it out of my hoop. So I've got the black done on the pumpkin, and I've started on some of the other stuff. Now I was started on my white, and I'm using the called for DMC, and the white in this pumpkin is 822. It does not show up on my fabric at all. So then I switched to B5200. Still doesn't show up. So I consulted with a friend, and she says, well, because I'm going to have the same problem when I get to the house with it not showing up. And it really doesn't show up too well on this fabric that she used. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually stitch it in 3865, and then I'm going to just back stitch around the white to make it stand out. I thought about making this pumpkin orange and black, so I put orange in where the white would go, but I really like the white and black pumpkin. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use 3865, and then I'm going to back stitch it. So another 18 count. Like I said, I am absolutely loving 18 count fabric because I can use one strand. And I found that using one strand, the coverage is pretty good. Yeah, I think it's pretty good. Okay, the last thing I have been working on is out of this magazine, Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher, and this is the Christmas Winter issue 2017. And I was looking for an ornament to stitch for my friend. So I do an ornament exchange with a friend every year at Christmas time. And I was flipping through this book and I saw this. And I absolutely love this. It's so cute. And I thought I could do that as an ornament, but then on 14 count, it would have been too big for an ornament. I think even on, because it calls for 32 count vintage country mocha. So, but still, even on 32 count, it was still going to be almost 9 inches. And I thought that was too big for an ornament, but I thought, oh, I love how they finished it. Into a sewing roll. And I have a couple of those little things. So I'm stitching this for myself and I'm going to make it into a sewing roll. And this is my project that is what I call my on-the-go project. So I have it in just a very small project bag. And it's one that I take with me when I go somewhere. If I know I'm going to be sitting in a car or a doctor's office or whatever, I take this. And I'm not going to take it out of my Q-snap, but it's clear. I've done the border up to there. Finished the spool and the snowflake. All the white is done inside. Well, I guess the spool isn't finished. I got a little bit more stitching up here to finish the spool. But from here on down is completely done. So can't wait to finish this. And it will probably go right inside of this little sewing box that I have right here when it's all done. All right, that's it. That is it. That's what I've been working on. That is my plans for the rest of October is to work on those autumn projects. I don't know that I will, I don't know, at least until the end of November or the end of October, those will be worked on. If in November, I start feeling like I want to start stitching some Christmas, I have some whips in progress that are Christmas related that I may just pull them out. I may start a few new things. That's it for my stitching. Okay, so into my life updates. Okay, so I was planning on filming a video the middle of March because I think it had been almost a month, and I can't remember exactly. I had planned on doing one, I think towards the first part of March, and something happened and I wasn't able to, and I thought, okay, I can get to it next week. Didn't get to it next week, and then the third week in March, my the schools around here announced that they were closing. Now I have every one of my kids are considered essential workers. Um, so some of my one daughter did get laid off because she worked for a restaurant, so she got laid off. So I didn't have her kids, but my youngest daughter was an essential worker. And her schedule is she works graveyard shifts. So she works all night, and then she would come home, get the kids off to school, and then she would go to bed and sleep all day till the kids go home from school, and then help them with their homework and everything. And then I'm over here, and then I keep them. So what I do, and we do this now. School started, but we I she brings them over just before she goes to work, which is about 6 o'clock at night, and then I keep them, put them to bed, and then she picks them up, and I get them up, get them ready for school. She picks them up and gets them home in time to catch the bus. Anyway, with no school, her schedule didn't change. She still had to be able to sleep during the day, and she worked at night. So, in her schedule, she works like 3 days one week and 2 days the next. So, because she works 12-hour shifts, anyway, she gets her 40 hours in the week, but she works like 3 days and 2 days anyway. So, when the shutdown happened and the kids had no school, plus my daughter doesn't have internet at her house. She's a single mom. She can't afford, luxuries like the internet. So, and she has access to internet on her phone, but the kids can't do their homework on her phone. So, and she had to sleep. So, what she would do is she would bring the kids over, drop them off when she went to work, and then if she worked 3 days, then I kept the kids those whole 3 days. And so they could do their schoolwork on the internet, and and she could sleep, and then she would get up, get ready for work, and then come over and spend a couple of hours with the kids before she'd have to go to work. And then once her 3 days of working were over, then she would pick up the kids that morning, and then she would have them with her on her days off, which is normal. Anyway, so that's a long way to explain that I had grandkids all the time. And because she didn't have access to internet, it ended up, they tried to do virtual learning. These are two kids that really need the structure of school to be able to sit down and focus and learn. So, and their teachers really weren't, they would put some learning on there, but their teachers would only pop in like once a week, sometimes twice a week, to see how they were doing. And so they would kind of do like no, it wasn't Zoom, but it was something within the school district that they could get on. And it would have several of the kids on there. It would have all the kids on there plus the teacher. Anyway, so but really they were it was up to the kids to just do their own schoolwork and then submit it. I am not a school teacher. I am not a school teacher. I am a grandma. And I just, they would come over here and I didn't know what they were doing. I didn't understand the programs that they had to get on to do it. So it just, the online learning between them needing the school structure and me not being a teacher and not understanding it. My daughter didn't have internet at her house. Those kids ended up turning in their tablets, and then my daughter would go in once a week and pick up packets for them, and then the next week she would take those packets, their work that they had done. Sorry, I am really bumping the thing. Sorry. Anyway, she would drop those packets off and get new ones. Anyway, so, and then our schools ended up being done with school like the middle of May. Usually we go to the end of May, but by the middle of May, they were done, you know. So anyway, so because of the schedule, and then once school was out, you know, like I said, my daughter is a single mom. She doesn't have really anybody else to rely on but me to watch the kids. So I had kids all summer long, and I love my grandkids. I really love my grandkids. But when school started, it was a party at my house. um, so yeah, so for me to try to make a video, um, and then my husband, I didn't want to do videos when he was home because he's only home. He goes out. He's out from Friday night. He leaves out Friday night, and then he usually gets home Wednesday afternoon. So when he gets home, I don't want to be in here making a video. I must be spending time with my husband. And then he usually leaves out, then he leaves out Friday. Well, he does that for 2 weeks. And then the third week, he's home working local. So he's working local, so he's still working, but he's home every night for a week. And then he's out 2 weeks. And then he's out for a week, only home for a couple of days, and then out for a week, home for a couple of days. And then, anyway, that's how our life goes. Anyway, so when he was home, I didn't want to do videos. And it seemed like when he wasn't home, I had kids most of the time. So it's just been really hard. And then in, it was, oh, what day was it? The Friday, I think it was the Friday before Mother's Day. My sister calls me. Now, I can't remember if I told you in my video that my dad, I did. I remember telling you about we had to move my dad to a different assisted living facility, and it was like 2.5 hours away. Anyway, the Friday before Mother's Day, my sister called me and said that she had gotten a phone call. My dad had fallen, and um, he wasn't doing good. Now, I had not seen him since I moved him down there, since we moved him to this other place. So I had not seen my dad since the end of December, the first part of January. Well, it was between New Year's and Christmas or Christmas and New Year's that we moved in. So I hadn't seen my dad, and not that, like I said, I watch grandkids all the time, and it had been really. And then with the roads, we would get a snowstorm, and then the roads would be bad, and then COVID happened. So I had been planning. Okay, it was starting to warm up and starting to be nice weather. I had planned to make a trip down to see my dad, and then COVID happened, and we couldn't. They wouldn't let us in. So no one had actually seen my dad since since the middle of March, really. And um, anyway, so the Friday before Mother's Day, my sister's called, and he had fallen and wasn't doing well. So I told her, I says, okay, let's go. And so I went out, I picked her up, and we headed down. And we were down there till the Monday after Mother's Day. So we were down there, we got down there Friday night, and we were there Saturday, Sunday, and we came home Monday afternoon. He had fallen, but when we were there, he couldn't hardly walk. He couldn't talk. He could talk, but it was like he wanted to say something, but the words just would not come. So he would just say, "Never mind." You know, he was getting really frustrated. But he seemed to be not changing. Those 4 days we were there, he didn't change. He was able to go down and eat, which he really wasn't eating real good. He was kind of just sitting there, and then you kind of had to feed him or remind him to eat. um, they were trying to get him to walk with his walker. And finally, I says, no, don't make him walk with the walker. He couldn't walk. They were trying to force him to walk with his walker with their assistance, and he couldn't walk. And so we told him, no, and just don't even make him walk. Put him in the wheelchair and push him. And so um, we had talked with the hospice nurse Monday morning, and we decided that he was stable. And she said, if anything changes, I will call you immediately so you guys, I will give you plenty enough time to get down here if things take a turn for the worse. So my sister and I went home the day after Mother's Day. And um, and so for 2 weeks, it was just kind of, they were just keeping in touch with us. Nothing had changed. He was the same. And then the day after Memorial Day, my sister was already down there in Utah. Um, and she calls me up and she says, Nancy, you need to get here as soon as possible. She says the hospice nurse had wrote her a huge long text and she had forwarded it to me. She says, read the text and tell me what you think. And so I read the text, um, and then I called her, and together we decided that I needed to get down there. So I packed up. I pretty much was still packed because from when I was there 2 weeks prior, because I knew that there was a possibility that, I may just have to, in the middle of the night, I may get a phone call saying get down here. And so I pretty much was packed. I just had to throw in a few extra things. And we went down the, it was Tuesday. I went down Tuesday afternoon after Memorial Day, which was, I think, the 26th of May. I don't know. Anyway, it was Tuesday. And I went down. My dad was not, I don't know how to put it. He's not coherent. He was in his bed. Um, I don't know that he knew that we were there or not. I think he did because we would try talking to him. He was very agitated. And so anyway, we were there Tuesday night. Wednesday, we spent all day Wednesday with him. Wednesday afternoon or Wednesday evening, one of the workers there, we had become pretty, close with her. And she says, I want to check his oxygen level. Hospice had been there that day. The hospice says at that point they didn't give him, they said 12 hours probably at the most before he was gone. And that evening about 9 o'clock, the worker there, she says, let me just check his oxygen. And she did, and it was like 75, I think. 70, I don't know. It was right between 70 and 75. And she says, I don't think he has much longer. Anyway, then just before she left from shift change at 11, she says, I'm going to check his oxygen again. And she did, and it was down to 60. I think it was in the low 60s. So she says, I don't give him much more. She says, I probably a couple more hours. Anyway, so my niece had come in. We were just sitting there, talking with Dad. We had the light on. We were visiting, and we would talk to Dad, and and let him know that it's okay if it's time for him to go, and and my niece finally left about midnight, and at 12:41 a.m. on May 28th, my dad passed away. So, and I was glad I was there. I got to be there with him when he passed, and he went very peaceful. And it's been hard. I've had my moments when I've cried. And we had his funeral. He died on a Thursday. We had his funeral the following Tuesday. And we could only do a graveside because of COVID, which was fine because my dad was 88 years old and a lot of his friends have already passed away and or are kind of in the same situation as he is and or as he was. And so we just did a graveside service, and it was so good. It was a perfect day. It wasn't hot, it wasn't cold. It was June 2nd, I think. It wasn't hot. It was just perfect. It was a perfect day. And there was a lot of people that actually came to the service at the cemetery, which I was actually surprised. And anyway, but that's not all. So my dad had an aunt who was it was this aunt was his mom's sister. She was 10 years older than my dad, so she was 98. And when my dad was in the living facility here in where I live, um, they were in the same facility. And about the same time my dad started declining, so did my dad's aunt. And anyway, my dad passed away on May 28th, and 24 hours later, almost to the exact moment, his aunt passed away. So we had 2 deaths within 24 hours in our family. Hers was also a blessing. It's sad to lose someone, but to watch my dad, and how he had dementia, and he hadn't been my dad for 6 years, and to see him decline like that, it's sad that I lost him, but he is so much better off right now. And so, it's a blessing, but it's hard. Anyway, so that so then a week after my dad's funeral was my dad's aunt's funeral. So anyway, so that took us into the middle of June. Then in 4th of July was just really different here. Okay, so our state shut down, just like everybody else. But our numbers didn't peak in May and June like a lot of people's. Ours peaked the end of July. By the end of July, our state was pretty much opened up. So yeah, but what's funny now is our numbers now in the area that I live in. We're pretty much opened up. I think some hair salons, they're still only taking by appointments. You can't just like they're just not open completely up. Like they take appointments, you come in, and they have space in between each appointments to disinfect and stuff. Our theaters are opened up, and the bars. This is in my area. Now Boise is a little bit different, so not all of Idaho is like where I live. So for the 4th of July, they still had our parade. They did it a little bit different so that you could social distance, so it's a little bit longer of a route. I didn't go. My husband was already gone back to work, and he was on the road, and I didn't go. And so, but we did go down and eat because our town square has it. They put food vendors and anyway all the way around and stuff. So we did go eat. Then What else? Oh, they did have our county fair. That was a little bit different. We're not required to wear masks where I live. Um, you can if you choose to. If you don't want to, you don't. Most stores, their workers do. A few stores, they don't. It's just, like I said, it's just random. Um, the kids went back to school. Um, the third week in August. So anyway, so kind of we're at our new normal now, and you know, it's how it is. Anyway, there's your life update. So it's been crazy. Like I said, I'm going to try to do, I might pop in every couple of weeks and just do a quick video just to show you what I'm working on or what I finished. Maybe more of a vlog style. I don't want them to be more than 20 minutes long at the most. So I think that's it for today. Like I said, this is a little bit longer just because of the life update. It took me 20 minutes just to give you the life update. So, yeah, I will see you back in a couple of weeks, maybe a month, and we'll go from there. Bye.